Pantheus and His Armor. There was a great warrior named Pantheus. He learned to swing a sword at 6, and by 16 he was an officer in his kingdom's army, and by 25, the youngest general his kingdom had ever seen. If there was one thing Pantheus knew, it was how to lead and how to fight. One day, far from his kingdom in an oceanside village, Pantheus came upon a blacksmith. This blacksmith was unlike any he had ever seen before. Ornaments in his beard, and long flowing tattoos down his back. The blacksmith studied Pantheus and said, "Sir, I see that you are a military man. How is your armor these days?" Pantheus scoffed. "I am no mere military man. I am Pantheus, general of the king's greatest army. Surely you know my name, blacksmith." The blacksmith smirked. "Of course, my lord. Your name is sung from sea to sea. It would be my honor to forge a suit of armor so precise to your body you may not even know you were wearing it, free of charge, for it would be my honor and privilege for you to carry a creation of mine." Pantheus thought, what harm could it do? He could always use more armor. The next morning, as Pantheus arrived at the forge, he could find no trace of the blacksmith. But there he found the most beautiful armor he had ever seen. Chrome silver, gleaming in the sun, the same black flowing patterns as the blacksmith tattoos running across the chest and the back. He put it on, and instantly it felt like a part of him. No restriction, no weight, like a second skin. As he walked through the town, people stopped and stared. Pantheus thought, this armor will become a symbol of my army, of my king, and of my nation. That evening, he asked his stable boy to help him remove the armor. The boy looked at him and said, "Sir, there are no straps, no latches. There is no way to remove this armor." Pantheus laughed. Then he tried himself. The boy was right. There was no way to take it off. He rushed back to the forge, arriving at the same hour he had originally stumbled upon the blacksmith. The blacksmith returned. Pantheus demanded he remove the armor. The blacksmith smirked, and Pantheus recognized it as the same smirk from the night prior. "I cannot take it off you, my lord. The armor can only be released when you find your truth." Pantheus erupted. "My truth? I am Pantheus, commander of the greatest army in the world, the greatest warrior in ages. That is my truth." The blacksmith shook his head. "That may all be true, but it is not the truth you seek. I am sorry. The burden is now yours." In a fit of rage, Pantheus killed the blacksmith. 5 years passed. Pantheus did in fact become a beacon for his kingdom, the man in the most beautiful armor the world had ever seen, a man who inspired nations. One day, a decree came down from his king, while him and his army were deep into enemy territory. Any village they came upon was to be burned to the ground, no one left alive, no men, no women, no children. For the first time in his service, something inside Pantheus felt wrong. But he looked back at his men as they rode, and he saw how they looked at him, admiration in their eyes. That feeling went dormant. That afternoon, they stumbled upon a village. "Loose!" Pantheus bellowed, as the arrows, lit ablaze, flew towards the village. The buildings burned. "Charge!" Pantheus and his men were upon that village like a storm. But for the first time, Pantheus actually saw what was happening. Women and children cut down. He could hear the screaming, smell the burning flesh. He wanted to be sick. In that moment, his armor vibrated, just enough to pull him back and remind him of his duty, of what was expected of the man in armor. That night, as his men celebrated around him, Pantheus could feel nothing. A messenger approached him. "Sir, you have a visitor. It's your wife." Pantheus thought, what in the world would bring Zell out all this way? As he entered his tent, there she sat. The woman who had known him before the army, the rank, before the armor. As he looked into her cool, steady blue eyes, she said, "There's something wrong, Pantheus. Tell me." Pantheus thought to himself, "This woman." He could never hide from her. As he sat down, he continued to gaze upon Zell's fair-skinned face and long blonde hair. For the first time in 5 years, his eyes began to water. "We killed them all, Zell. I am no hero. I am nothing more than a scared boy who has only known war and violence. Everyone sees the armor, sees the warrior, but underneath, I'm still that boy, and I am scared. I don't know who I actually am, but I know I am so much more than this." Zell held him as he wept. And then a faint sound. Click, click. The armor fell to the floor. In that moment, Pantheus remembered the blacksmith's words. The armor can only be released when you find your truth. And the truth was never his rank, his title, or the symbol the world made him into. The truth was what he had just said to the one person who could see through it all. Zell looked at him and smiled. "Now, the reason I came all this way. I have news, Pantheus. I'm pregnant." And for the first time in his life, Pantheus felt true, unencumbered joy. This is a story that I wrote about really my life, I would say. It's a fictional story, and I would say that many of us are Pantheists. We use our ego, our rank, our title, our version of us that we feel is accepted in society to protect us from our wounds, to protect us from our deepest knowings, our deepest truths, to protect us from the fact that we don't know what we're doing here, what any of this means, but we do have to interact with society. And many times, it's things layered upon us, things society rewards us for, things that are traumas from our past. And it's not until we take a look at those things where we can really start to understand maybe who we are underneath all of that protection, all of that armor, right? That Pantheus was wearing. And for us, it's a mask that we wear. It's the version of us that we think will be accepted. Maybe we know the authentic version of ourselves is a version that loves the arts or loves whatever, but we feel like that's not going to be accepted or it doesn't have monetary value. And so we present a version of ourselves that we think will be accepted or that society will reward us for. And it usually takes somebody like Zell in this case, somebody who loves us deeply, who knows us to our core, who can call us out on our bullshit, that can help us see through it all. And, you know, for some people that can be a therapist for sure, but I really think there's something special about it being, you know, your person, could be a family member. But I have found in my life that the times that I'm able to represent my most authentic self, take the mask off, put the armor down, is when I'm with my wife. When she looks me in the eyes and she calls me out, she goes, "What? No, I know, Sean, you know, what's going on? Tell me, talk to me," type of thing. And those are the moments that for me the armor come off. And it's always a work in progress, but I think the more we can take the armor off, the more we can look at ourselves straight and just be authentically us, the more vulnerable we can be, the more honest we can be, and the happier we can be. And the more we can interact with reality in a way that is authentic to us and not feel like we're putting on a mask. And it can be incredibly scary. It's probably one of the most scary things in the world to do, because what happens when we're not accepted for the true us? But I ask, what happens when you are accepted for the truest version of you? So I hope you enjoyed my story that I wrote, Pantheus and His Armor, and I hope you took something away from it. Thank you, guys.